What do you see the biodiversity issue in the Asian country or at least regional?
Well, actually, all of the countries in the region, they have similar issues on biodiversity degradation, be it forests or endangered species, or even what we say life under the water. So these are common issues across the region. Well, in Thailand, of course, one of the important resources of Thailand is your life underwater. So that's, I think, one priority that Thailand should be looking at. Another would be about endangered species. I think there are a lot of endangered species in our protected parks. So that's another consideration. And of course, maintenance of parks as areas where, you know, where animals can thrive is also something that should be prioritized. One of the issues that I see in Thailand is because of the fast pace of agricultural development.
I see.
Some of our technical reports that have been produced point to conversion of land to high-valued crops, and this means that when you do monocropping, it destroys the biodiversity of the area. So that is, I think, another issue that Thailand needs to really look at. The financial solutions are really tailored for specific problems, like government is still one of the bigger players and should be still the biggest player in biodiversity. And that's because biodiversity is what we call a public good. So it belongs to all of us. It cannot be subdivided to us as stakeholders. So that the public sector, government, should be one of the more active players in biodiversity, and that means devoting more budget. And of course, it's easier said than done, but there are also situations where the government can avoid spending for activities that are harmful to biodiversity, because in the long run, they also have to spend for it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
As you know already, that one of the finance solutions that we adopted during this emergency is crowdfunding. So although it may not result in huge budgets or huge donations, the fact that we are able to engage communities in being involved in certain actions that have the ultimate objective of biodiversity is one very important thing. Well, of course, there is still the financial consideration. As you know, here in Thailand, our crowdfunding results were rather substantial, and it allowed us to be able to fund, even for a few months, our taxi boat operators, our fishers, communities who have lost incomes due to the pandemic. So there are immediate solutions which we can also think of as an adaptation to this pandemic.
During crisis, there still be the opportunities.
Yes.
How do you see the opportunity of Koh Tao for biodiversity finance?
Well, I think there's tremendous opportunity for biodiversity finance. We see it through the commitment of the local government and this recent institution of the user charge or the tourism charge. It's only 20 baht per tourist, but I think it will bring significant revenues to the government. One is, of course, what we talked about, the public sector, but another is emerging partnerships. So our partnership with Koh Tao Bank is something that was really a great opportunity, not only for the crowdfunding, but now we are seeing that there are other opportunities apart from just the CS, the traditional corporate social responsibility funding. So I think they have also seen a lot of opportunities for them to mainstream these activities in banking operations. So I hope they can come back and analyze where they can still invest.
But the challenge on this, in my opinion, I think that it should be educate the tourists as well, because they might not know why they have to spend their money
yes, that's
on the
correct.
environmental
Yes.
protection as
Yes.
well. So is this the barrier, or do you have any solution for this?
Actually, if as you might be aware, the 20 baht tourism charge has already begun, and they have started collecting. So some feedback that we got from our colleagues and from those collecting the fees point to the fact that some of the tourists are actually asking, why are you collecting this extra 20 baht from us? So, despite the fact that it's really almost no value, it's very small value. Perhaps it's still important to report back to them and provide feedback on I don't know, maybe semestral or yearly basis on where the 20 baht has gone. So I think that issue about being transparent and being accountable is something that we recognize and that we will take action on. And as some of this action could be more education, to some simple materials that we can provide to tourists, maybe a billboard or a dashboard that will show you this is where the money is going to.
Present the progress of where the money have been done.
Yes.
As we heard that the good news for Koh Tao, for maybe from collecting the money from the tourists, we found tuna already around here
See?
in Koh Tao.
Not just tuna, turtles.
Oh, turtle as well.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah.
right. Or endangered species
Yes,
come more and
correct.
more around
Yes.
Koh Tao. So it's make the environment better and better.
Correct,
What
yes.
are the lessons learned from this kind of project so far?
That's a very good question. As you know, the tourism charge could not have happened without the ordinance. And it took quite some time to convince the municipality, plus, of course, the community has to understand why. So it took some time also to convince them that the ordinance is necessary. But you know, this is all a matter of community preparation and making people really understand and want it for themselves. It's not Biofin coming and imposing solutions. It must be solutions that you think are meaningful and can be done by the community or the municipality.
At the present, can we say that Koh Tao can be the case study for globally financial solution?
Well, it's one of the case study. First, before going global, I think there are already other opportunities even in Thailand where we can replicate the example of Koh Tao. What is the example of Koh Tao? It's a non-protected area under the DNP. It's a protected area under Ministry of Environment, but it's a special protection zone. So, is this the example that we would like to replicate? Maybe.
I see.
Okay, and then let's look at other small islands that are like Koh Tao, where we can further strengthen the devolution. So that's another cause for replication. Another is better budgeting. So results-based budgeting is another of the good practices in public budgeting that we would like to be able to contribute to. Actually, there are a few other solutions which Biofin Thailand is proposing, and I hope that after this pandemic is fully over, we can really be more aggressive in working with our local governments. This particular finance solution is results-based budgeting, and it means really to help local governments, maybe provinces or provinces and districts, to be able to do better budgets. And that budget should first incorporate biodiversity. Second is to have a clearer goal on what you want for biodiversity, and that's why
I
it's
see.
results-based
So it
budget.
depends on the region, depends on the area as well for the
Yes.
financial solution.
Correct. And we have already identified what are these ministries that should be involved. So these are the ministries that are concerned with our environment, like forestry, the MCR, Department of National Parks. So these are the traditional biodiversity sector. But in Thailand, we still need to strengthen the linkage with the Ministry of Finance, with the central bank. I think the planning ministry through NESDB has already been involved since phase 1 of biofilm, but it's good to veer away from the traditional biodiversity sector and really move into those sectors involved in planning
I see.
and finance. So we need to mainstream in those particular ministries, but that's only for the public sector.
I see.
In Thailand, I see a great opportunity for the private sector. That's because there's a lot of action, a lot of wealth being generated by the private sector,
Yes.
especially those which are based on utilization of natural resources. So I think they are also a very important stakeholder.
I see.
The third would be the general populace, the citizenry, and we have seen how if Thais want to do it, it's a sense of pride for
That's right,
for
that's
Thais.
right.
And this is something that I really learned in this crowdfunding activity, how the Thais really engage in this
We
sort
can
of
say that
initiatives.
Thai people, we have like a merit mind.
Yes,
So
yes.
we doing the merit for the temple
Exactly.
and doing the merit for supporting the poverty.
Correct, yeah.
So many years ago in the
Yeah.
past, so it's like it's in our mindset
Yes.
that this is the thing that we also have to support
Yes.
when there is any crisis or any problems.
That was what I actually shared with the other people in the global team. I said, do not forget when we had the Asian financial crisis, the Thais were really even helping the government, selling their jewelry,
That's right.
etc., etc. So this crowdfunding campaign is just a repeat of that, and that's why it was very successful.
So it's going to be the great opportunity here in
Yes,
Thailand to
yes.
practice the financial solution for biodiversity in the near future.
Yes.
โน่นเจอนี่เจออะไรดีๆก็คิดถึงเธอภูเขาทะเลกว้างใหญ่จะสวยแค่ไหนก็ไม่สวยเท่าเธอของกินที่ว่าอร่อยมันก็กร่อยๆถ้าไม่กินพร้อมเธออยากให้เธอมาร่วมเจอนี่ได้มาเบบี้มานะอยากเจอต่อให้ระยะ